Loan.
Well, they call it a loan because we're borrowing it from that fund and putting it into another fund.
But you told DLGF that this is miscellaneous revenue for the territory. It should already be in the territory fund. I mean, because if you tell DLGF, we're running out of money, we're gonna, you know, we don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna say, you said you had this money from EMS, put it where you said you were gonna put it.
1782, and this is Chris's handwriting when she gave me this information when I was reviewing the budget. And that includes, she has.
Yeah, she subtract the $140,000 from that's what she estimated. She showed me this today also. She estimated $70,000 from grants, and she was going to use $70,000 out of the EMS fund for a budget. That's where that $140,000 is from.
So at the very minimum, that $70,000 should already be in the territory fund because she reported it as miscellaneous revenue to DLGF. So you're telling DLGF that this is money that is going to be used for territory purposes. So they've already approved it.
Right. But it's not in that fund yet because it's miscellaneous revenue. We haven't added it to it. We may, I don't know now, and I'm not speaking for her. I'm just speculating that we would add it as we receive it. In theory,
you've already got $70,000 in the EMS fund, at least.
I'm not sure how.
You just read how much you have in the EMS fund.
I'm not sure how.
Okay.
This is one reason I thought it would be a good idea if we can separate those funds. To do it. Well, it would make it crystal clear exactly how much is in there, and then we could, I don't know if the state will let you automatically transfer that fund at the beginning of the year, transfer the $70,000 right into your pot of money at the beginning of the year, or if they want you to do it quarterly, or like.
If you have it and you say that it's part of your budget, then by golly, you better put it in that budget.
It's the same as carryover at the beginning of the year, correct?
Right, or like an excess levy or something. If you count it, you put it where you said you were going to use it.
I think there's just some clarifications here, the way we're reading this, but.
Who would give us that clarification?
State Board of Accounts.
State Board of Accounts, that's the thing, is they make up the rules sometimes as they go along.
Yeah. Interpret their own rules.
And depends on who you talk to.
Well, it's also cheaper than a financial advisor.
Well, we can't call the financial advisor.
So,
I think that we could contact somebody at the DLGF and get that answer. They could look at our books and.
Well, just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question.
When you look at a budget crisis, I mean, when you're getting down to, just like at home, and
Breadcrumbs.
and you've got, I don't want to say a pile of money, but
Yeah.
there's some money there that,
Fill in the gaps and keep it moving.
exactly.
Now, the question next year is going to be, how much do we estimate we want to use out of that fund for running the territory next year, because our grant amount is going to be going down.
That'll be for my successor.
And that, all that will, probably have to be reviewed in this proposed budget.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to take all that into account as to
Exactly.
when those run out, when we're gonna start
Exactly.
paying, the employees out of the budget. We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to find some money that is in a line item somewhere this year. We're gonna have to reduce things down to come up with those salaries.
Right. One thing that I will mention, that the towns have, historically, you guys got 50, 75 years of history of budgets. And this entity, the territory, is a new developed entity. And we don't have that historical data that we've been able to capture to set a really good budget. We're still in the guessing phases. And this year really is the first year we aren't guessing as much. But then we've got all these grants we've added in too, which are fantastic. We couldn't do what we did without the grants, but it's kind of given us a false sense of security a little bit, because it's pushing us along, but then all of a sudden there's a cliff that drops off and we got to take over. So every year we're going to get better at doing the budget, because we'll have more historical data. The chiefs will be able to tell us more accurately how much stuff's going to cost. And then hopefully in a couple of years we can just say, okay, we're going to increase the budget 2 or 3%, and like the towns do, and it generally will fall in place like you guys have here.
But it makes it a lot easier for an administrator, or an operational manager, whatever, to look at the totality of the figure. This is my budget here, so if the EMS funds was part of that budget, I'll know realistically how much money I have. It's a little difficult to operate on hearsay.
And I'm still learning too myself, I will admit, I ask a lot of
That would be
questions.
a plus.
We're gonna have accurate numbers of expenditures and stuff, you know, I mean, when we sat down to do the budget, we see what was spent out of each line item last year, whether we had to move money over, and what we appropriated at the beginning of the year, and transfer money around to cover something, because, the rates went up on the utility or whatever. And we take that into account and how much you actually totally spent for the end of the year, whether we have a little left over, whether we broke about even, or whether we had to move money to cover, and then, you gotta know all your expenditures from the previous year and everything. And now this is gonna be a little more complicated, because we're gonna have to pick up salaries, because the grant's no longer gonna be putting part of increase. So we're gonna have to come up with that money out of what we, wasn't spending, we put it in a different line item this year.
Exactly.
So we're gonna have to make up that difference, and we're gonna have to know what those differences are, we're gonna have to know when they started, and when they be affected, and when they're paying the full amounts.
Yeah, and those get phased in at different times, and it depends on,
Correct. So
one of the guys is a veteran, so it goes longer than the other two. So there's some adjustment there. One thing I did want to ask though, the board, before I forget, it's not on the agenda, has anybody heard anything about White River? Has anybody entertained the idea of talking to them about next year?
I know that contact will be made, and I was hoping by early summer to do that.
Summer's
Let's
usually
see
a
the
good
right
time to talk to her.
It's probably the right timing.
Right now, she is real busy, but June, July, and August, she may be slower.
Yeah.
I just thought in the budget process, if we think that we may be contracting with them, that could vastly change the amount of revenue brought in.
That's another issue we're gonna have to take into account too, with the budget, that we don't have that contract money, and we're not getting the runs out there either.
We haven't had anyone really out there.
That has not been any runs out there.
That's good, because we're not supposed to go out there.
And now it's not good, because every run we go on is like $1,700 every time we go out there, so that's revenue that we really.
Well, the CAD's been changed.
It's been changed.
Yeah.
I don't mind going out there occasionally,
We
but
back up, but,
I'm just glad that we're not responding all the time to
Or-
cover for somebody
For
else.
pennies.
Yeah, and not having a contract with it.
I'm all in favor of getting all we can,
For the
and
sake-
every penny helps.
For the sake of time and argument, do we have anything else we want to talk about before we entertain a motion to?
I have nothing.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll close the meeting out officially.